Alex had always believed that life's happiness came from success, money, and recognition. He worked long hours, often skipping meals and sleep, just to impress his boss and climb the corporate ladder. His apartment was filled with expensive gadgets, clothes, and decor, but despite all these things, a quiet emptiness lingered in his heart. He missed family gatherings, lost touch with old friends, and rarely had a moment to sit quietly and think. Yet, he convinced himself that this sacrifice was worth it. He told himself that soon, everything would make sense once he reached the top. One rainy evening, after a particularly stressful day at work, Alex received a call from his bank. There had been a serious financial error, and a large sum of money was lost due to his oversight. Panic set in immediately. He tried to call his boss, but no one picked up. The news spread quickly at work, and whispers followed him through the office halls. The security of his job, which he had taken for granted, began to crumble. He felt a sinking sensation in his chest, a cold weight that made it hard to breathe. Days turned into weeks, and the challenges only multiplied. The bills piled up, threatening eviction from the apartment he had so proudly decorated. Friends who once admired his lifestyle now distanced themselves, unsure how to respond to his sudden misfortune. Even Emma, his closest friend, seemed helpless as she watched him struggle. At night, he would sit alone in the dark, scrolling through messages that reminded him of everything he had lost. The life he had built with so much effort felt like a house of cards, ready to collapse at any moment. Alex also noticed how strained his relationship with his mother had become. In the past, he had been too busy to call her regularly, too busy to visit, too busy to appreciate her presence. Now, in his most vulnerable state, he realized the depth of her unconditional love, but even that comfort could not fill the void of his lost achievements. Guilt gnawed at him, and he began to question every choice he had made. The most painful moment came when he had to pack up his belongings from the apartment he once loved. As he held the small number of items he could take, he felt a mix of regret, shame, and fear. Who am I without my job, my apartment, my status? He asked himself repeatedly. He wandered the empty streets, lost in thought, the cold rain washing over him as if the world itself reflected his despair. Every step felt heavy, every breath seemed harder. He had nothing left that defined him in society's eyes. And yet, in the quiet moments of loneliness, a tiny spark of curiosity began to emerge. What if losing everything was not the end, but the beginning of something new? Could there be happiness beyond money, recognition, and possessions? This question lingered in his mind, quietly waiting to grow into something stronger. The audience feels Alex's pain, confusion, and fear, yet also senses the faint promise of change that will shape the next chapter of his life. After hitting rock bottom, Alex realized that he had a choice: to stay trapped in despair or to begin again, differently this time. At first, even small steps felt impossible. He started with simple routines, waking up early, going for short walks in the park, and observing the world around him. He noticed the sunlight reflecting on leaves, the laughter of children playing, and the calmness of a quiet street. These small moments, which he had ignored in his past obsession with work and wealth, started to bring a sense of peace he had never known. Slowly, he began to understand that life's beauty existed in simple, ordinary moments. Alex reached out to his mother and spent more time reconnecting with family. They shared memories and long conversations he had previously avoided, and with each call, he felt a sense of grounding. He also leaned on Emma, who reminded him that true friends stay even when circumstances change. With her encouragement, he began volunteering at a local community center, helping children and elderly people. The act of giving, without expecting anything in return, brought him a joy that money had never offered. Every smile, every word of gratitude from those he helped, made him feel lighter and more connected to life. One day, Alex met Mr. Thompson, a mentor who introduced him to meditation, mindfulness, and reflective journaling. Through these practices, he learned to observe his thoughts without judgment, accept his past mistakes, and focus on the present moment. He realized that his identity was not defined by his job, his apartment, or social recognition. It was defined by his values, actions, and relationships. For the first time, he felt inner strength and clarity. As Alex embraced this new lifestyle, he began building meaningful connections. He reconnected with old friends, formed new relationships, and prioritized genuine conversations over superficial interactions. He learned to celebrate small victories, like completing a week of volunteering or mastering a new skill. Each day, he felt gratitude for experiences that once seemed trivial. This gradual transformation taught him that happiness was not a destination but a continuous journey of self-awareness, kindness, and appreciation. By the end of his journey, Alex had discovered true happiness. It was not in wealth, status, or material possessions but in inner peace, love, and meaningful human connections. He had transformed his life through reflection, gratitude, and compassionate actions. The audience experiences emotional highs through his moments of realization, reconciliation, and quiet joy, feeling inspired to reflect on their own lives. Alex's story motivates viewers to take small steps toward personal growth, emphasizing that no matter how deep the fall, it is always possible to rise again. The moral of the story becomes clear: true happiness cannot be bought or earned through external achievements. It grows from self-awareness, gratitude, and relationships that nurture the soul. Alex's journey encourages the audience to shift focus from chasing possessions to cultivating inner peace, purpose, and connection. The story closes on a hopeful note, leaving viewers inspired to examine their own lives, appreciate what truly matters, and take meaningful steps toward their own happiness.